as opposed to doing the newest, bestest thing, is actually the way you build school systems. And then the last piece is the issue of the fight versus collaboration. Even the word collaboration has a negative connotation from World War II. But the culture changer here is how do you work together? Not how do you create a fight, but how do you work together to make school happen? Because and I think Gar said it, and Martha said it, schooling is a relationship between teacher and child, and then teachers and children, and then teachers and parents and children, and everyone else in the community. That's not sexy, but that is critical. And so you see in this very good exemplars for how to teach the rest of the country what works in schooling, not just the what's, but the how to do it.
Clearly, this is very bad for the media business. I have to put a stop to this right now. I think there's two elements that we haven't mentioned here that are really critical. And one is the role of parents, and the other is the role of community groups and nonprofit groups. Maybe I could start with the mayor and ask you about parents. I don't see a parent on the panel, but parents have to be important. You probably many of you are parents, and then I think we don't need to talk about nonprofit groups and the services they provide in the community versus the services that school district provides. But can we start with Reggie first with parents? Nothing about Hartford.
I think we all know, research has proven that those parents who are involved with the education of their children have better achievement than others. And I always tell people, I wish I had the right answer for how do we get more of our low achieving parents, those that have low achieving students, involved in the educational lives of their children. Certainly don't have any magic answer for that. We don't throw in the towel, we don't throw in flag. We just work hard at it each and every day. Some people say, well, feed them and they'll be there. Well, that's not the case. And we know that generally at the beginning of the school year, we do get more parents in than as the year goes on. So we continue to work at that. We continue to try things that may motivate a parent, inspire a parent to come in. There are those who go out to doors and knock on doors to get parents in. You try telephone trees, you try just about everything to get parents in. And some come, some don't. And one of the things I say is I don't look at that and feel bad about it. I don't look at it and say, well, we're not a successful school district because 100% of the parents don't come out to be concerned with their kids. I look at staff and say, let's do what we can do, okay, for kids. That's the key. What can we do as educators for kids? And of course, the parents will come along if we're doing a good job, hopefully.
I'm going to give the mic to Will Ginsberg from the New Haven Foundation.
Thank you, Rick. Just on the point about nonprofits, I would make a couple of comments. I think it's clear that to the extent that the nonprofit infrastructure in this community is supportive of and is funded to be supportive of things that advance student achievement, it will vastly enhance what can be achieved in New Haven over time with this teacher contract. And there's a tremendous wealth of experience and ability in the nonprofit sector. I think a lot of it comes down to, from the perspective of a funder like the foundation, to what extent will we orient our grant making toward supporting nonprofit institutions around student achievement, and that's a question that we will certainly take up. The Community Foundation has embraced this as a very important goal and stands foursquare behind the goals of the School Reform Initiative. So I think that's one question. The broader question, I think, is raising the funds locally and nationally from private philanthropy to support the nonprofit sector to do this. And I think there is a tremendous opportunity to do that. I think it's in no way a negative reflection. I add my congratulations to all that's been said today for what's been achieved with this contract, and it's in no way to take away from that to say that the impact of this contract can be magnified many times if we can raise the funds, locally and nationally, private funds to support the nonprofit sector to supplement this. I think, frankly, that, and I'll quote something that Mayor DeStefano said in an early meeting that I was in with him on the whole subject of school reform, which is that this issue and this goal of enhancing school reform and enhancing student achievement and eliminating the achievement gap in our community has the perspective to pull this community together like no other issue that we all work on in this community. So the opportunity is there, and I think, frankly, this contract enhances that opportunity, because if there was and I'll be very frank, if there was a skepticism in this community, it was around whether the labor management relations could come together. And I think the fact that they have is a huge plus in terms of eliminating the skepticism. So what will it take? And I would put this back as a question. I think fundamentally what it will take, and I know there's thinking about this underway already, is an accountability mechanism that private funders, individuals, local institutions, and national institutions, because there's a lot of national private philanthropic dollars flowing into school reform, an accountability mechanism that will give those institutions and those donors the confidence that real change is occurring. And that's how we take full advantage in terms of private resources of the opportunities that this contract presents.
Mayor, do you want to add anything to that? How are you going to marshal these national funds and bring them to New Haven?
Just a word about parents first, really quick. Parents will be involved in governance. I'll be on the Board of Education. They'll be in the 3 reform committees. Having said that, I don't want to diminish that. I think the real issue is to get parents involved in their schools, and neighbors to get involved in their schools is a really important, critical thing. And I don't want to diminish that is the principal place where stuff happens is in the school. And I think the issue of getting national funders, we estimate, a robust number over 5 years of $130 million to support our schools. It may sound like a lot of money, but Alan and George from the State Board of Ed, who are sitting here behind us, gave us $69 million for this building, so I don't figure that's much of a problem. And so we'll figure that out, and that's part of Doc's and my job to help figure that out. But part of it is helping convince people we have this wonderful, spectacular opportunity in front of us, and that it represents a real chance to redefine what New Haven stands for. And if anyone looks at what's happening in this city right now, and most all of us live here, except the outsiders, most all of us who live here understand this, is the nature of our economy is changing in New Haven. It is not factories, it is knowledge-based companies. That's where our families are going to earn their living, where children are going to have a better chance to do better than their parents had a chance to do, and we're either going to compete or fall behind as a city and a state on this. And I think it's a pretty good thing to ask people for money for, other than political terms.
Before we move on from parents, I think that's really important, and I don't want to miss anybody who has anything they might want to add to that. Is there, or anybody? We have a woman right there with the arm up in the mustard-colored blouse, I think. Okay. There's a call from Mr. Coleman. We also have Alan Taylor next to him and Senator Looney, so maybe the two of them would also like to just quickly weigh in, but starting with George.
Thank you. She's not my plant, but thank you very much. I want to say in the department we are very, very excited about the potential and the opportunity that this contract provides as a model for other districts within our state. No other community will do it like New Haven. New Haven has assessed its own assets and brought them all together to make this happen in a way that is unique to New Haven. New Haven has always had its own way of doing things, and you can recognize it. There are reasons why. New Haven is one of the national intellectual centers in the world, and to bring all those assets to a common table to say, we want our students to be high performers.